Well, I have a microphone, and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
Welcome to the You, Me, and the Scene podcast, brought to you by Revival Recordings.
Hello, and welcome back to the You, Me, and the Scene podcast, brought to you by Revival Recordings. We are on episode 11. We are down E again this week, but later in the episode, we will be joined by the host of the Bardown Breakdown podcast. So if you guys are in the scene, you've probably heard of them or listened to them. So we'll be talking to those guys.
They're putting on a music festival. Sorry.
Yes, yes, that Revival is sponsoring. Is that the word?
I'm not great at detecting the pauses and when I'm supposed to talk in any conversation, but yes.
Yes.
They're putting on a festival this summer featuring Frontside and Out of Time. Not Out of Time. Out of Time. Who that was rough, but
anyway. You can start over if you want.
Nah, you already said what was going to be said, so it's fine. I can.
If people are listening to this, then they already know that this is how we are. So
yeah,
over it.
Especially the episode that just dropped with Goose, and you weren't here, Haley, to keep us together.
Oh,
immediately, as soon as we started recording, just not anything that we sat down to talk about.
Right.
Not that right now is much better, but
it's not really much better. But I do have something funny to tell you guys about that, though. Andrew, my husband, watched the podcast today with Goose, and he's like, "It's like Goose's Dr. Phil." he's like, I feel like I should apologize to him, and I didn't even do anything. I was like, what is happening?
I always say Goose is like one of the most calming personalities I have ever encountered.
That's true.
Yeah,
Goose is one of my favorite people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just easy to talk to. Gives good advice. So, any bands that checked it out, listen to what he was saying, absorb it, utilize it in your next conversation with a label. But yeah, so we're recording this on May 24th. It's a couple weeks until this one will be out, but like we said in the last episode, we've been recording them a little closer together than usual because Amanda will be leaving us for tour for a little bit, and so compared to last episode, we don't have too much that happened in the scene, but there were a few releases, and I know
I feel like we say that every time, and
them.
then
we end up
we say there's not much every time, and then we go onto our little tangent. So let's see how this goes. But yeah, before we started recording, we were talking about how we really can't rightfully talk about the Sleep Token album without Edie here. Because she is our resident Sleep Token stan. But I will say I listened to some of it, and I think it's really cool, and I understand why people freak out over Sleep Token. It's just way too slow moving for me to pay attention to, and that's just a personal taste thing. But I do think what they're doing is really cool. So that's my review, guys, because I know everyone is wondering.
I haven't listened to it yet.
I haven't listened to it, but I know that people are, people all over Twitter are talking about it and things. So it's definitely a big thing happening right now in the scene. And I think that they'll continue to grow from just this release.
I need to figure out if my concept of time is just warped, or I thought the summoning came out like forever ago, and I didn't realize it was on this album. I thought that the summoning going viral was like forever ago. Was this a long album drop, or is it just me?
I don't know. I feel like the summoning kind of came out when we started podcasting, right? Because that's when E was freaking out
in December,
in February.
Yeah, I think so.
We didn't start in December.
We recorded in December. Right? Yeah, we recorded the first episode in December.
None of us have concept of time.
See, yeah. Well, I think it felt like a really long album rollout, which I understand because it's like a huge, huge thing. But yeah, we can't really do this.
The summoning came out on January 6th. So yeah, around that time. Because, yeah, you were really hyped about that. So it was around the time when we started You, Me, and the Scene.
That's interesting. So they released this. Oh, okay, never mind. I was looking on Spotify, and it looked like originally that they had only released the Summoning, but no, they released several. How long is the album? They released a lot of singles.
Did they?
I'm not sure. So I didn't, full disclosure, I didn't get through the whole album because those are 6-minute songs, 6+ minute songs. And all I do is leave my apartment to drive to my other job and then drive back. And that's the only time I'm listening to music unless I'm sitting down to do like A&R stuff. So I don't have the time to go through the entire thing.
There's 12 songs on it. But it is 12 songs at 1 hour and 3 minutes.
But other than Sleep Token, Bless the Fall dropped a song as well.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it yet, but all three of you guys and E were like super hyped on it. So
yeah, I listened to it when I was running errands today, and it's like it's really good. And the older I get, the angrier I want my music to be, and it's an angry song.
Yes.
We were talking to E about it, and she was saying the vocals are a little quiet with the way that they're mixed. And she's right, but that's also what a lot of Bless the Fall's music is like. So it didn't really bother me.
Yeah, I was listening to it, of course, when I saw eventually, because originally they were like, it's coming out on the 24th, which would have been today. And then they were like, we couldn't wait any longer. Here it is. And whether that's a marketing tactic or not.
What if it was just a mistake? What if someone was just like, guys, I know you said the 24th. What if the person that is like me and you, Haley, on the distribution side, that's like, hey, I know you're planning for the 24th, but I accidentally slipped and did the 24th.
So just play it off. Play it off.
There's so many things that it could be, but whatever. I'm happy that it dropped. I haven't watched the music video yet for it, though.
Oh, I didn't know there was... Well, obviously there's a music video, but I didn't watch it yet either. I was thinking about this earlier when I saw that the song came out. I met Bo Boken. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot saying good things about a man in the scene and, later regret it. But when I was 16 at the All-Stars tour, I met Bo Boken, like, with my friends. And he was super, super kind. And now I just have good memories associated with Bless the Fall. So,
love that.
Yeah, I love Bless the Fall, and I'm excited that they've been. I don't think I realized at the time that they had gone on hiatus or whatever. Like their last music before this was 2019, and I don't know that I realized it had been that long. But
I don't know if they ever announced that they did. Did they announce that they were going on hiatus, or did they just like take the title out of their bios?
I don't know, truthfully. But like I've seen people being like, we need a Hollow Bodies tour, and like they would like respond with like, sorry bud, or whatever. So I was like,
too bad. Too bad.
But yeah, I was really into it. I'm excited to see what else they are coming up with in the future, for sure.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what it's attached to, for sure. But yeah, there's a few, meaning one revival update. I Set to Kill is going on tour.
Yes, on the 15th anniversary of Reach, which was released by, I don't know which label released that.
Let me see.
Now that I have no idea.
It was before us.
Yes, it was well before us. And
well, it was 15 years ago.
I was going to say they've been around for so long.
5 or 6 dates in July, I believe.
Suburban Noise Records.
Not who I thought. But, yeah, not who I thought, but that's fine.
Yeah, so tickets are on sale for that now. So grab those. There's only a few dates. Yeah. California, Arizona area, I think, right?
Texas.
Yeah.
The hot states.
The hot states.
I
But yeah.
Also, really quick, I went to Blink-182 on Sunday, and I'm so happy Tom is back in that band. Oh my god, because I saw, like, when they released the album with Skiba, I went to that show, and it's it's just such a different vibe. Like with Tom there. I love it.
I don't
just want
know if
everybody
I've
to know
ever
that.
said this. I don't know if I've ever said this on the internet. Oh, I was about to say that I was going to say it before Justin and Mikey hopped on. But
Hi,
here they are.
Justin.
How's it going, guys?
How are you?
You're just in time. I was
I am.
just talking about how I don't think I've ever said it on the internet, but I'm not really a Blink-182 fan.
Oh, me either. I've said it on the internet multiple times, though.
Nice. If I've seen it, I've probably agreed with it. But, yeah.
I've done so
I
many
thought
hot
that was
takes
going
on
to be more
TikTok.
dramatic.
Have you?
So many hot takes on TikTok. Where there was one where it was like, "Oh, what's a musical opinion that not a lot of people will agree with?" And I said, "Oh, I think Blink-182 side projects are better than Blink-182."
I was
so
just
many
gonna
people
say.
were so mad at me.
I think should we do a podcast of just our musical hot takes?
We've said that so many
I
times.
said that we need to do hot takes, but I agree because I was just saying that I went to Blink on Sunday and that I'm so happy Tom's back in the band because like I saw them with Skibba a few years back, but I will say I saw Angels and Airwaves in like 2019, I think it was, or early 2020 before everything, and it was just so good. Yeah, the before times, the before and the after times, and it's just so good. Like, but you have to be in the Blink mindset of like, I mean, they have some serious songs, but for the most part, they're not, and you know, they're still on stage telling dick jokes and stuff. So if you're not into that,
Oh my
there you
god.
go. You know, like Tom's
I saw,
talking about aliens.
I saw Angels and Airwaves on their first tour ever, and it was Make Damn Sure. It was that tour with Taking Back Sunday.
Oh yeah.
So it was them. I don't think it was Stages and Stereos. It was them. I know Angels and Airwaves, and I forgot who like the opener was for the tour. But that's all I cared about was Taking Back Sunday.
Mm.
That's all I wanted to see.
But like yeah, I agree.
Was
the side
that the
projects,
Charlotte
but-
date?
It wasn't the Charlotte date. It was. It was.
No, I wasn't
Florida.
talking
It
to
was,
you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, me.
He has to hear me talk all the time.
Shut up, Justin. No, I'm in Boston, so we were at
Okay.
the Garden on Sunday.
So
Tea
in case you aren't
Garden.
watching this, we're joined by Mikey and Justin from the Bardown Breakdown podcast. I swear every time I say your podcast name, I like basically
How many
just choke.
ideas of, like-
I'm just like the ba. The ba.
You guys should have told me this was. I didn't know this was live.
So
Oh, no,
that's the
live.
thing.
No, we're not live.
Oh, okay.
We're not live. We are recording, but
Yeah.
usually we stop recording after our intro and then go into. But it was just
Okay.
flowing, so I just went with it.
Yeah,
now here we are.
yeah. We don't have to put in the little in between music. So there you go, Amanda.
You're
One
stuck
less
with
thing you
us.
have to edit.
Or
Yeah,
maybe
we were-
more things. We'll see.
Bro.
We were talking about how we just don't even edit our podcast anymore. We just
Roll with it.
Free
roll with
flowing.
it.
We've gotten
Ain't
some
nobody
real
got time
gems
for that.
out of it. Well, I wasn't even. I was sick for the last podcast with Fear Before, but I told him, I'm like, the one thing you guys have to ask him is how did they get in contact with Tourette's guy? Because
Oh.
I don't know if you guys remember Tourette's guy way back when.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
Oh, I think I saw this on socials. You guys
Yeah.
posted
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
on socials.
So they did a whole promo where Tourette's guy was just like, "What is this music?" And he's like dropping like F-bombs, like not like
Oh my God.
I'll say fuck, but they were saying like the other F-bomb that we don't talk about.
The
Oh,
slur
no.
one.
Yeah.
And he was like, on the podcast, he was like, "Yeah, I think we ruined his whole shtick."
Oh no.
I actually found that commercial and like it did air on MTV and Fuse and like Much
Oh, that's
Music.
not surprising at all.
And I'm like,
No.
holy cow, how did
Early
this ever
2000s
go on
MTV
TV?
was a whole nother hellscape.
Wild. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm gonna have to find it now. I'm gonna have to find that.
Yeah. The thing
Just to
is,
see
you
it for
guys
myself.
like see that we're on TV like when we were younger, and you're just like, wow, wow.
Every time
Bit much.
I hear someone say when we were young or when we were younger, I'm like, oh, triggered. But I was gonna say that you guys are a lot better at directing conversations than we are. I noticed that because
That's why we have to edit.
Do you guys want to play some inside baseball really quick? It's a lot of times Mikey and I texting each other like, we got to segue this into something else.
Oh, yeah.
We got to close this conversation.
yeah, I
happens a
haven't
lot.
gotten great at that because most of our other episodes, with the exception of the one that I'm currently editing, are people that like we've talked to before, or like we work with, or people we already know. And then we had the guys from Emo Night on this other one, and I was like stressed. I was like, oh man, what's the dynamic gonna be?
Was
And
it
then
Emo Night
sometimes we
LA
just
or?
Yeah.
Emo Night
It was
LA,
Morgan and TJ, yeah. And we talked about Out of Time playing down in Florida. You guys did one of their
We did their
down there, right?
Orlando date.
Orlando
with,
one, yeah.
With JT from Hawthorne Heights. Cappy was the
Yep.
production manager, and then
Yeah.
Cappy. Okay, let me just say, Cappy is a gem of a human being, and I absolutely love her.
She's so nice. She's so nice.
Because it was a Thursday, so I remember I was working. Literally, I could throw a football from my office and hit the venue that we were playing at. That's how close we were. And I went up to my boss and I said, "Hey, is it okay if I leave for like 20 minutes? I'm gonna load all my gear in, come back to work, finish out the day, and then just walk to the venue." And he goes, "Yeah, sure, that's fine." So I come back and he was like, "Why are you all sweaty?" I was like, "I was watching Cops." And it took him a minute to understand the reference, but I was just loading gear into the venue, and so we did the whole thing, and I went over there, and I was so tired, and I was like getting ready. I was in the zone, getting ready to go on stage, and Cappy comes up to me and she goes, "Are you really tired?" I go, "Yeah, can you tell?" And she's like, "Yeah. Do you want me to get you a Red Bull?" And she comes back with like a 6-pack of Red Bull for me for the stage. So I was like, "Yeah, let's go for it. We're doing it." But yeah, anything we wanted, she was just like on it. She was just like,
Yeah.
"Yep, here you go, here you go, here you go." And I was like, "Oh, I don't think I've ever gotten this attention before. This is fucking weird."
You ain't getting that at
Yeah.
Bardown Breakfest.
No.
That's for damn sure.
And I'm a co-host.
Nope.
Yeah, no, she's on top of it. She was doing all the production when E hosted the Boston one like last month, and we were back there, and she was on top of everything, and she's just so nice. I've met like a few other people that work for Emo Night. They're all just very nice people, and like so good to work with.
Yeah, TJ seemed excited about you guys. He said y'all
Yeah.
were the first band that they booked for
In Florida. Or
for the
for
event.
Orlando. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I think you
First
well like because
and
we were
last.
yeah, because we were talking about how they like put local bands in now and like integrate those. So he was saying you guys were the first Orlando one or something, or Florida one. So
Yeah, we're probably the last because we wrote on the green room wall. We put
Oh, no.
P is stored in the balls.
Fair-
There were so
okay.
many stickers and everything, so we just like wrote that on there. They didn't know it was us.
So cut that out. Cut that part out.
Yeah, cut that.
that is funny though, because Morgan was talking about how he wrote stuff on a green room wall. And we were talking about how you just can't like mess up green rooms like you used to be able to.
No, I remember there was a venue down in Orlando. It was back booth back in the day, but then they changed it to sound bar. I've seen so many bands play there. We've played there so many times, and in that green room alone, I've seen people get haircuts. I've seen people get tattoos. And it was a disgusting green room. Like it literally looked like a desk in like middle school detention where it's like we're all written over and just like carved in the wall. The couch was disgusting.
Ew.
And yeah, and then I laughed because when we played House of Blues a couple years ago too, we went into the green room and I was like, how many rock stars do you think did disgusting things in this green room? I don't want to touch anything.
A lot.
A lot.
Not touching anything without anti-vax.
Need an antibiotic after you leave the room.
Oh my goodness. So, yes.
Speaking of live music, segue. Bardown Breakfest, which I keep wanting to call. I keep wanting to make like a breakfast joke. The pieces are there. I try.
We do it all the time. You're good.
All the time.
Okay. But yeah, what's the
Breakfast.
date again in Charlotte?
So it's June 30th and July 1st.
Sweet, cool.
Yeah.
24
So
bands.
this is the second year too.
Second
So
year.
before we get into that, I mean, we wanted to like talk to you guys about creating Bardown Breakdown. I know Justin is newer. You've been on for a while hosting, but newer than from the beginning and just like the start of it. What made you guys want to start the process, and then how you made it into a festival now for year number 2.
Do you guys
All
have
right.
your
That's all
story
you.
like down?
You got
Like,
your story
is
straight?
It, like, routine
all
now?
the facts?
I got all the facts. So I was actually listening to your last episode with Goose, and you guys mentioned Envy on the Coast. Well, this podcast really stems from my relationship with them. Moved back to Long Island after college, and I was at a deer hunter show in Brooklyn and was taking the train home and happened to run into the Envy on the Coast dudes. Like, they just were all on the
Dang.
same train, and they sat down because they are friends with my other co-host. Like, they were really good friends with him, and we were just talking, and like hockey just naturally came up in conversation. And before you knew it, we were on a men's league hockey team together, and like it was the first time where I realized my two worlds like collided, like alternative music and hockey. And a couple of years went by, and it was like just playing hockey, and you know, a lot of the Long Island like scene bands would come and play pickup with us, and that's when I really realized that there was just a huge crossover, and decided to start a podcast when I moved down to Charlotte, and 207 episodes later, we're still doing it.
Here we are.
That's crazy.
That is a
207.
crazy number, and they're long episodes too.
Yeah.
That is so much content to put out.
And
Yeah,
along
about
the
an
way,
hour.
you got stuck with Justin along the way, so.
I think I've made them longer. I legitimately think I've made the episodes longer sometimes, because I'll just be like, oh yeah, remember that one show that you guys played back in Orlando where Guar got like banned from the field because they put their fake body liquids all over the clay of the baseball field? And they're like, yeah, sure.
See, I've had to do a few episodes by myself, and they are like to the point, get to the music, get to the hockey. And
You're the
then
business guy.
Whenever Justin and Tom are on the episode, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to cut them off.
They're like the
We
color.
had-
They're like the color commentators, and you're
Yeah.
like
They
the
are.
more business side.
I was talking last night about how it's a conspiracy theory that all the Stahl brothers are the same height. They're all 6'4", and that blows my mind. How 4 brothers.
So
Oh,
there are
same
4 of them.
height.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
to get it out of the way, I am a born and raised Ranger fan who hasn't been paying close enough attention to hockey to talk like I know what I'm saying about the current season. But
Well, there's currently 3 Stahl brothers on the ice tonight playing against each
that's
other, and they have not spoken to each other since the series started.
it's literally like that Simpsons episode where Bart and
Yeah.
Lisa play. Oh my god. Life, death, fighting for your mother's love. Ah.
See, I know a
It
little
was
bit
like,
about this because I'm a Carolina Hurricanes fan. Which
Yes,
I mean,
they got one. They got one of
Right.
them or 2 of them.
they have
They've
One.
had they've had 3 of them on the
they've
team.
had yes,
And-
but they just have Jordan now.
They just have Jordan now. Yeah,
Yeah.
Eric and the other one are playing for the Panthers.
And was it Eric that used to be on the Rangers?
Yes.
And
Yep.
yeah, Eric was drafted to the
See?
Hurricanes, then he got traded to the Rangers.
See,
think something
I
like
kind
that.
of know things about
I know things. All
So,
I know
also-
is that the Bruins fumbled their fucking bag. And that's all I gotta say.
I
Sure
was
happens.
listening to y'all's Bronze Age episode the other day because I know they're playing the festival, and you were talking about the Stalls' mother's jersey that she wears, and like everyone
Does she
knows
have
who
3?
she is wherever she goes.
Is it like
At the time, she only had 2, but she might have 3.
Yeah, so they were saying it was a jersey split down the middle, and one side, I guess, was I can't remember which teams.
It was the Penguins and the Hurricanes.
Yeah,
this is what I remember.
No.
Yeah, and it still said Stall on the back because the whole that's the whole thing.
Didn't Travis Kelce's mom do that for the Super Bowl?
Yeah. That's what I was just gonna say. Is that she had the 2 half? That's like crazy to have both your sons just like in the Super Bowl. Like,
I'm sorry, I'm still
separate teams. Like,
I'm still kind of stuck on The Simpsons predicting this Stall matchup.
The Simpsons have predicted everything. Like, can you imagine the family like Christmas this year or Thanksgiving this year? Like
they have beating the shit out of each other.
Angry.
Literally in probably gonna be the last game of the series tonight if the Panthers can carry on this lead that they have right now.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be an awkward family Christmas. Thunder Bay is going to be a completely different place this year.
I think that if I was Jordan Stahl, and let's say the Panthers did win tonight and they took the series, as long as the Panthers didn't win the Stanley Cup, I'd be fine at Christmas and Thanksgiving. But if they did, I might be a little salty and petty about it. But I'd be like, it's okay, you didn't win either, so it's fine.
I think after this series is over, he's gonna root for his brothers. Like you have to, right?
I mean, do you?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Depends.
It's like that meme that's like the Jonas Brothers can't break up their brothers.
Hanson did it,
but they did.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is so. Just before we go back to the track that we were never really on in the first place. Last tour when I was in Texas with Alisana, they took me to a Hanson show.
Oh yeah, I forgot
that's
you did
right.
that.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking weird. It was fun, but it was really
weird. Did they
weird.
sing Bop? They have to, right?
They did, but it was the third to last song. So they played Bop, and then the wave of, because the venue was in like a mall shopping center situation. And they played Bop, and then the wave of people that like left the venue. I was like, ooh, who planned
like
that?
Hyperveil concert when Pierce the Veil played. There's everyone left.
Oof. Oh, that's rough.
I listened to a podcast with the Hanson brother. It was either the lead singer Syndrome or Krista Makes a Podcast. They seem like they're child stars that turned out all right. Like they're not completely screwed up.
Yeah, I think they went the child star route of being, I could be totally mistaken, but I'm pretty sure when I was looking them up, they went the child star route of like getting super religious, and like that's their thing.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
They took like the purity ring side and didn't ever switch it up. But
if Jonas kept being Jonas.
Yeah, exactly. But Hanson was not on our list of things to talk about for this podcast.
There's a lot of things that are never on our list to talk about, but here we are.
I'm glad I got that story out, though. It was just bubbling like right here in my chest. I had to talk about it.
I feel like someone has a bingo card for Bardown Breakdown, and it's like Justin talking about the Stalls mom once more.
Which we did here.
Your grandpa's dealership down in Florida.
My grandpa's dealership in Florida where I got to meet Van Beesbrook. Tom talking about that one vinyl he picked up from that one sketchy show that he shouldn't have gone to. And then, I don't know, something else. Me blacking out with Fall Out Boy.
That's okay. Our bingo card is like
tons.
assless chaps and like out there things. Unhinged sometimes.
Yeah, Taylor Swift and Millennium are both things that come up, like the EDM artist who like I truthfully have never listened to a day in my life, but Ears really likes them. They come up a lot.
So Bardown Breakfest.
Bardown Breakfast.
It was actually.
Are you just leading this interview now? You know we're not on Bardown Breakdown. Right?
Take it, because we don't know what we're doing.
Take it over.
So I I don't know how what we did, but I think it had to have been like June or July of 2020 or 2021. And I messaged Mikey and I just told him, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we got a tour together with some of the bands that we had on the podcast, and we just did like a run, and maybe we do a fest, and we just have like a big show with like alumni that we had on the podcast." And then he was like, "I don't know logistically how we're going to get this done." And then a week later you said, "I'm all in, we're doing this, but it has to be in Orlando for year one." Because I think we were looking at Charlotte for year one originally.
Yep.
And
it just, I'm originally from Long Island, so this isn't really necessarily my scene here in Charlotte. I'm not going to be like a poser and say that it is. So I knew what they were doing down in Orlando was super special, and we just so happened to have a bunch of former guests that were from Orlando, so it really just made sense. And
yeah,
the location we picked was perfect because there's literally 2 venues on the same street. So
like
we were able to just alternate between the venues as bands were switching, and it just was like 6 hours of straight music. There was no like downtime at all.
That is
I
like
would
the
literally
ideal
tell
way
people
to
to
do
get
it.
out of one venue. I would like, get out, go over there. Just
Sounds
to
like
go
a
see
workout.
Mikey,
Yeah.
have you ever
Well,
like
it's
put
running
anything
up and down the
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I wasn't saying
sorry.
anything important.
I don't know if I was delayed because sometimes I talk over people and sometimes I'm just delayed. My bad. Mikey, have you ever like done anything like that? Like put anything or like been involved in putting anything like that on? Because like that's like a big like
Not
thing to
in,
take
like-
on if you haven't like
Yeah.
set up a show.
Not in like the music world.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in like I've organized events for stuff I do at the New York Islanders. So I've done like that kind of stuff with hundreds of people.
Okay.
And I knew like the scale that I wanted this to be. Like I wasn't gonna be like, all right, we're doing Fire Festival like 2.0. Like, I wasn't gonna do something like that. And
An island
I
with
knew
a
that,
bunch of
you know,
hockey
there
fans
wasn't-
and pop punk boys.
That would have been the
what we need.
smelliest island.
Now I kind of want to do like one of those cruise Bardown Breakfests.
Cruises.
I
Now
honestly,
have a new idea.
well, there you go. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that you guys haven't done that yet, or haven't thought about it at least.
Year 4.
I'm a big cruise guy. Now year 3 is probably going to be the end of it. My wife jokes though, because I pretty much like yearly say like this is the end of the podcast. I don't know if I could do this anymore. So
You
Year
have that
3, I
existential
really-
crisis every year.
every single year, like same goes for what I
we have
do
a
with
3 to
Isles
4 week
meetups.
break, and it's fine.
Yeah, that's what I need. Like I burn myself out, and then I'm like, all right, give me like 3 weeks off.
Well, last year was crazy. So not only did he like the Orlando show was booked, we got a promoter, we got the venue, but we had to get sponsors and we had to reach out to everybody, and then we planned the Bardown Break tour, and that was a logistical nightmare. We had a band from Canada come down, and we had to do all their visas. We had to sponsor the visas. Like Mikey set up an LLC to get everything like set up, and it was so much work that was like put behind it. And I remember when we played Charlotte, like we hung out for a little bit, and you were just like, I kind of want this week to be over already, but I kind of don't want this week to be over. And then Orlando finally happened, and it honestly went off without any issues.
No issues. I think the worst part was that the next morning, I thought it was a good idea to take my family to Disney. So like have this
my gosh.
full week of promoting the tour. Then we had an Elder Emo night, like live thing at a brewery down in Orlando that we also organized. Then the festival, and then 3 days at Disney. I was like,
That sounds
done
insane.
after that.
3 days. Jesus.
Mikey,
I would
you just
be-
booked your first festival. What are you going to do now? I'm gonna go to Disney.
Happiest
Yeah.
place on earth, my
How it
ass.
And so this year in Charlotte, it's at just one venue, right? Milestone.
Just
Yeah.
one venue, but 2 stages. So there's gonna be an inside and outside
Okay.
stage.
2 stages, 2
Oh,
days.
Yep.
Nice. I've never been to the Milestone, so I'm not entirely sure what it looks like. I can't picture it in my head, but I'm sure it will look fabulous.
Oh, you can picture it in your head. Just
Yeah.
picture
I
it.
can?
It's
like an
exactly what you.
old-
I'm pretty. Yeah. If it's the place that I'm thinking of, it's exactly what you think when you think of a venue of that size. Like,
It is
in a good way.
dive. It's a total
Yeah.
dive. But it's like
this
historical.
a-
Like, so
I think I went there on my first. Is this the place they have like one tap and it's PBR and you drink free PBR for during shows?
I
if
don't
you're
know if it's
working.
free. Oh, possibly.
possibly.
Or
But-
maybe someone was just giving me a lot of PBR that night because it was my
That
first
could
tour.
be it too.
So it's PBR.
Anyway,
It
has
looks
like
like
a
a
big,
big
rid of it.
house.
It has like a big like Gorilla Biscuits mural like inside that's like completely walled off because they don't want people to touch it because it was like commissioned by the guys in Gorilla Biscuits.
but everything
Um,
else is stickers, right? Am I thinking of
yes.
the right place?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yes. Yep. Well, somebody was giving me free PBR that night. I don't know if it was the venue, but
And like their claim to fame is like they've been around since 1968 or 69, and Nirvana's played there. Like pretty much any kind of punk band when they were starting probably played the Milestone if they played Charlotte. Like it's that historic.
They have a whole list of bands that played on their website, and it's funny going through that whole list and seeing all the wild names that people call their bands, and I absolutely love it. I think like
Yeah.
Meat Stick is on there, but there's like so many other ones that are just like it's just so funny to go through and just read them all off because you're like, oh, Fear played here, Nirvana played here, Dave Grohl's other band played here, Viking Death Funeral played here, and you're just like, what is going on with these band names? They're getting weirder the entire time.
that
Go
would
down.
be if you need like it doesn't sound like there's going to be any downtime between sets, but if you needed some kind of like bit for downtime between sets, you could be like, oh, is this a made up band name or a band that's played at the Milestone? And just run wild.
There you
And
go.
unfortunately, band
That's a
names
good
haven't
game.
gotten any crazier. Like they're still like we do A&R, and some band
Yeah.
names come across, and you're like, what is? What were they thinking? But,
There's
like, out of
there's
time,
a
like,
lot
you
of
know.
Yeah, for real. How'd they get their name?
there's been I don't want to say any specifically because God forbid if that one person from that one band that I mentioned somehow hears this, I will never be able to live with myself. So I'm not going to mention anyone by names, but I have been trying to get the hashtag going for years and years and years on Twitter, Simpsons quotes as band names. And it's just me and like one tweet from a dude that I dated and some random guy who doesn't tweet anymore. And no one else has done it. So if anyone has any good Simpsons quotes as band names that they would like to add, I would really appreciate it.
Oh, that's an easy one. I can think of if
And you
sat
can't do
down for a
Fallout
good-
Boy because it's already a thing. I don't know if you know
Oh,
that,
yeah.
but
That's pretty- I don't know if you heard that story.
I did not hear that story.
Oh,
Familiar.
you don't know that one, Mikey?
I'm not a Simpsons guy either, so
Oh, it's a Fallout Boy. I think it's more of a Fallout Boy thing than a Simpsons thing.
it's a character on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Techni-
Milhouse's superhero character, right?
Yeah, you guys are pop punk and hockey. I should be pop punk in The Simpsons. That's clearly,
Ooh.
but yeah,
So
there's,
And then you could talk about a lot of conspiracy theories too if you start doing that. That'd be
Oh,
cool.
that's not good for me. That's
But
not,
All the
anyway.
Simpson nerds.
I will make up conspiracy theories. I have one going on right now that like I'll like just if I'm trying to get away from somebody, either at the merch table or at I'm probably gonna give away my secrets now. or at a bar and I don't want to talk to somebody anymore,
Cut that.
I'll say, I'm like, hey man, are you like up to date on Big Hot Dog? And they'll be like, what are you talking about? Like, and I'll be like, yeah, man, like, don't you understand that like bakeries only make so many buns, but you get more hot dogs than buns, so you're consistently buying more and more and more. And they'll just sit there and they'll just kind of like, oh my god, you're completely right, and I'll just get away. Irish goodbye.
So, has this band played at the Milestone, or is it made up? Big Hot Dog.
Big Hot Dog.
They probably played there.
Probably is a band name somewhere in the
Black
universe.
Days of January have played the Milestone.
I don't.
You got the list up in front of you?
Yeah, I do. Oh no, this is my favorite. Blowtorch Circumcision.
No way. No way.
Well,
They
no
have
way.
played the Milestone.
Some people get real bold with their band names. My God.
Can you imagine?
I mean, you remember them though. Memorable names.
And you will never find, like, you'll be searching for them. There'll never be two bands named the same thing. Like, you know, how we have.
Or you'll end up with some real fucked up shit on your search history. Jesus.
That's true.
I want a hot Blowtorch Circumcision shirt now.
No.
I also
man.
want.
I
was just gonna say their merch must be like little advisory
There's
warning on
another
it.
My other favorite one is Buck Biloxi and the Fucks.
I like that one.
That's another good one.
Sounds right.
I've gone through this list like 6 or 7 times, and every time I go through it, I find new gems. I love it.
Now I really want to. I really want someone to has.
I just tried finding their Spotify and I can't find it.
Buck Biloxi.
Because can you imagine going into like DistroKid and DistroKid being like, "Hey, you can't call your band Circumcision. That's not allowed."
That's not gonna go.
Some of these bands might have problems because even with Eyes Set to Kill, I have problems doing stuff with their socials sometimes because they sit like for violence.
Everything on YouTube
Like,
gets flagged if you
yeah.
try to tag it Eyes Set to Kill.
Like,
And
yeah,
they've been around for so long too. Like you would just think that people would just like get it.
No.
Like they were around at like a completely different time where we would name bands weird names like this because we were just sad and on MySpace all the time.
yeah.
See, that's why
my
I think-
band.
That's why I think Out of Time truly is a really good band name because it's a specific enough reference to where like it sounds like it's not from anything to like the average person who hasn't seen Back to the Future. But if you get it, you get it, and it's really like it just so many good things. I just see a lot of bad band names doing A&R, and I'm, it's refreshing.
I don't even remember. I think like, it came from our like mutual hatred of Universal Studios closing the Back to the Future ride that we were just so upset about it that we're just like, fuck it, Out of Time.
Is that what they put the Simpsons ride in?
Yeah.
Oh, that ride makes
full
me
circle.
so sick.
I was gonna say I cannot go on it. I
It literally
throw
gives
up
motion
immediately.
sickness.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's so
It's
bad. That's why I'm like more of a Disney person than a Universal because Universal has a lot of the like
The
VR
Martini
like
Shaker
stuff.
rides.
Well, like virtual reality type stuff. Even the
Yeah.
Harry Potter ride. Like I'm just a motion sick prone person, and I can't do any of those. It's bad. Sad for me, but bad.
Forbidden Journey is like is literally just like, hey, do you want to go to take your child to a bad daycare? Like that's shaken baby syndrome, that ride. 'Cause it's literally
Yes.
like it's just this the entire time, and it just throws you around. I had somebody like one of our friends, like we took him on it, and he like threw up all over himself on the ride. And I'm a sympathetic vomiter, so I didn't see him do it, which is good.
Have they played at the Milestone?
Sympathetic vomiter has probably played Milestone. But it was a faint smell of like animatronics, plastic, and vomit. I was just like, you gotta go. Just go buy another shirt. Like this is not. I'm not doing this right now.
God.
Go get a Hufflepuff shirt, you wimp.
There's so many one-liners that I'm not going to be able to pick an episode title. There's too much already. So many choices.
So my last company, they thought it was going to be a good idea to do an icebreaker by breaking us off into our Slytherin houses. Like, not I said what house I was into our houses for Harry Potter. And I'm 100% a Slytherin, and
I am too.
The cool kids were all in the same row. We're all sitting there, and we're all sneering at everybody else. And every time like somebody would get Gryffindor, everybody would be like, "Oh my God, you're Gryffindor!" And I'm just like, "You guys are the yellow Labradors of Earth." like everybody wants to be you, but you're too dumb to figure anything else out. Sorry for anybody who's a Gryffindor. I know Mike is a Gryffindor, and I always give him shit for it because he has a golden retriever. And there you go.
Damn, you had that one in the chamber.
I love.
I loved
We've
those
talked about
TikToks.
bands.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, which ones? Of
The ones that were like the Slytherin like party, and then it's like, oh well, Hufflepuff's over there just getting high, and like how like people just kept going with it. I love those.
But we would do it like even with like the Ravenclaw people. Every time someone got it, like there was like 5 Ravenclaws in like the whole office, and we were just like nerd the entire time. Like we were just not. We were the typical Slytherin house, like.
Yeah, not that I agree with anything that J.K. Rowling's doing nowadays, but
I've never seen a Harry Potter film.
Wait, really?
What?
I've never watched a single film. I've read like maybe 2 or 3 books. I was like, this isn't for me. I'm a Lord of the Rings guy.
How
but
do
yeah,
you know so much? Like I literally was so out of my element in like the last 30 seconds of this conversation. I have no idea what any of you were talking about.
Have you met Mike? I love Mike, but he has, if you look at his arm, he's got a ton of Harry Potter tattoos. He also does not agree with anything J.K. Rowling is doing, but that underdog story just really hit him, and he loved everything about it. And now he's feeling the same way I do about Brand New.
Oh,
I can't. Oh. I loved that band, and then I found out what he was doing, and I'm like, I can't even listen to like Deja Entendu anymore. Like I can't even listen to like anything, just because I'm just like, this is gross. And then I start like I try to listen to one song, and I was like, oh no,
because then the lyrics are like, oh no, like
the lyrics are problematic.
So let's bring it back.
I was gonna say one thing we did want to ask was like your guys' favorite guests you've had on, or some memorable moments over the 207 episodes.
If you can even remember a favorite at that point, that is just, I can't get over the amount of content.
Justin.
that
You
guys
have
have been
less
putting
to think back on than
I do have less to think back on. I think okay, so at least 2 of my favorite episodes so far were Brian Mitz Daniels, formerly of Madball. Just because I've been a Madball fan since like 2002. Since like I first like someone was just like, hey, have you ever listened to hardcore? And I'm like, oh, what's this? And I just fell in love with it, and it was like, it's kind of like new metal, but it's more aggressive, and I'm like, I love this. So I've been listening to Madball for so long, and that was a great episode just to like just pick his brain and talk to him about New York hardcore in general, and just be like, oh my god, like you were there, you were in the trenches. And then the other one is Ken Susi from Unearth, and now As Lately Dying. And I think it's because, one, I've looked up to him as a guitarist for so long, just because Unearth was one of those bands growing up, especially like in middle school and high school, where I was just like, I even said it on the podcast. I'm like, I never dressed like the MySpace scene. Like I was always like an athlete. I always like, cargo shorts, Adidas old schools, and some random shirt of a band you couldn't read the name for because it was
the typical hardcore. Yeah.
But that was such a cool episode. 1, because of that, and 2, because he just did not care. He was just like, yeah, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. This is why I'm not on Earth anymore. This is how I feel about the whole Tim Lambesis thing. This is how I feel about this. And he was just like, here's everything. Like, this is how I feel about it. This is what I did about it.
Damn, I was even afraid to ask you in this moment about the Tim thing.
Oh, like, I'll say the same thing Ken said. Like, he did his time. You know, he was overusing steroids and other drugs, and, you know, I don't condone what he did. I think what he did was despicable and disgusting, and he did 4 years in prison for it, and it sucks. Is he a changed man? Who knows? We'll never know. But I'll listen to As I Lay Dying more than I'll listen to Brand New.
Yeah,
and I don't listen to As I Lay Dying at all. So, but it was just really cool, like, hearing his side of everything, like, especially when he was talking about you know, going up to the original guitarist who had just quit, and he was just like, hey, like, are you cool with me playing your parts? And he was like, if there's anybody else I wanted to play my parts, it would be you. Like, that was like such a cool story to hear, like, all the behind the scenes about that stuff. So those two are probably my favorites out of all of them. Runners up would be like Kyle from Fireworks, Ryan from Yellow Card, and Tay from Like Pacific. Just because 2 weeks later we played with Like Pacific, and I was able to be like, hey, we met on the podcast and now we're playing together.
We go way back.
And I guess for me, I would have to say like Derek from State Champs, just because when Bardown was like getting started, I already knew that he was a huge hockey fan. And I was always just like, if we can get Derek, like, we did it. We made it. Like, this podcast is a success in my eyes. And it happened. And that was just a really cool conversation. I lived in Albany for a little while, so, like, knowing where they came from and then, like, talking about how they, like, didn't sign with Equal Visions, which is literally in Albany, and, like, went in Pure Noise. Like, that was a cool conversation. And it was definitely kind of, like, a nice seal to what we've done with the show. But
For
there's
sure.
so many, like, to think that we've had Chuck from Simple Plan on our show, and like
Yeah,
Tone
that's
from Sum
fucking
41.
That's
It's
crazy.
like unbelievable.
Is there
It-
anyone
it-
you're still wanting to get on the show? Like, who would, like, at this point, after 207 episodes, who's, like, still, like, the dream guest?
There's a few. There's only a few at this point. So, like, I know Kellen's not in the story so far anymore, but he's a huge San Jose Sharks fan, so, like, that would have been cool to get him on. Ian from Newfound Glory is a huge Florida Panthers fan.
I don't think he's
Love
ever
to
gonna
make
come
that
on.
happen. One of them might be happening pretty soon, hopefully, knock on wood, but Bryce Avery from the Rocket Summer is a Dallas Stars fan, so hoping to get him
Nice.
Oh yeah, and he's going on tour again soon.
Mhm.
The
on.
Rocket
Yeah, he's got a
Summer's
new
doing
album
tours
going on
and-
tour, so that'd be cool.
Is
And
it his social media person slid into our DMs?
yep,
Yeah.
That's-
I
I
love
see.
saying that.
that's always fun.
I love saying
When they do the work for us.
There's nothing
That's awesome.
sketch about that at all.
No,
Not in the music industry. Not you.
No, not
well,
at all.
But this
Well.
is the best thing
Well.
about
it depends on the context.
Yeah.
this is the best thing about Tom, our co-host. Like, he is like Mr. Long Island in the music scene, and he doesn't live there anymore. And the person who slid into our DMs is actually like one of his good friends. Like, she's a very good friend of his. And I was just like, dude, like, why didn't you set that up yourself? Like, you know
Right.
what she does. Like, because I didn't know that she was his publicist. And he's like, oh, I just totally forgot. And then, like, the same with that
Totally
interview
forgot.
with Mitch from Madball. Like, Mitch is like, yeah, you know, I worked with Tom. I knew Tom for years. And I'm like, oh, you didn't mention any of this to us. Like, literally none of this.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Nobody
Like,
wants
must
to
have slipped
work
my
it
mind.
these days, okay?
Like,
Tell
Tom's
Tom
super
he's
close
got to
with,
put
like,
in the work.
Tom's really close with, like, the dudes in Dr. Acula. he's just like, oh yeah, like I remember these guys, like, you know, I went to a show and then we went bowling and blacked out together, and you're just like, what is this
like what
life
Kevin
you lived?
That's like what Goose was saying on the last episode with that dude that he knows that like writes for Blake Shelton or something. He's like, oh yeah, I gave him beer once when we played together.
And now we like talk and yeah.
Now he's on my podcast. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, one of our favorite things to talk about is our good friend Chris was the tour manager for this band, As Tall as Lions. And, you know, they're a Long Island like indie rock band. And the lead singer of that band is like legit a Grammy winner now because he co-wrote that entire Olivia Rodrigo album. Like the entire thing has his name in all of the credits.
Dang,
and he's from our world.
Oh, so
that's
crazy. Because he must be the one because she did a whole documentary.
Yep.
That
so Dan
process.
Nigro from As Tall as Lions.
Yeah.
I still think As Tall as Lions music's way better than anything that she's done, but
so what do you guys think you're most excited for about this year's Bardown Breakfest?
Honestly, like it's a showcase for bands from the Carolinas, and yeah, we have a few of our like Out of Time sprinkled in and Hassle and One sprinkled in that are coming from outside of the Carolinas, but just excited to see some of these bands for the first time that I really have discovered because of this festival. We worked closely with this band Seneca Burns, which is out of Charlotte, and Christian did a fantastic job of like hand selecting bands that are doing really great things, especially in like Charlotte and Winston-Salem and Raleigh to get on the gig. And I've just been listening to these bands nonstop for the past like 8 months, and I'm just super excited to finally see a lot of these bands for the first time.
I got
it's exciting.
I got super into this Charlotte band a few years ago called Never Home, and I was like someone, I don't remember, someone showed me them and they were like, oh yeah, like they opened up for Broadside in Charlotte, check them out. I was like obsessed, where I was just like playing like the 5 songs or 6 songs that they had like on repeat. So I'm like, this is like new, this is like, it's pop punk, but it's not like, it's like that perfect bridge of like that third wave pop punk after like Drive Through Records and before like the Pure Noise stuff. I was like, I love this stuff, this is great. And then I found out that they were kind of like on a hiatus, but somehow they're doing a reunion show for Bardown.
Oh, nice.
And they're doing it on the 30th. So I told the guys, we're not playing any shows on the 30th. One, because I got to be there for day one, but more specifically just so I can go watch Never Home, because I want to see them live really bad. But also like just listening to all the other bands that are on there too. Like I've huge appreciation for like the Bronze Age, huge appreciation for Seneca Burns. There's just so many good bands that are on here, and then we recently just added Sink In to the lineup too. And I played with Sink In. Mike and I played with Sink In our old band, and we got really close because they're big Hershey Bears fans, which is like the feeder team for the Capitals. So I remember it, like this whole scene's like burned in my head. We're in the venue, and Mike changed into like a Hershey Bear shirt after our set, and Ty was literally in the middle of a song, finishes the song and goes, "Is that a Hershey Bear shirt?" Jumps off stage, hugs Mike, goes back on stage, and then finishes the whole set. So I'm really excited to play with them again.
No.
Nice. So wholesome.
We talk about a lot.
For sure.
Yeah. We talk about a lot how we always discover bands and then 5 seconds later realize that they're on hiatus, and it makes us so mad.
Yeah.
Like it's always Amanda, I feel like it's always happening to you.
Yeah, that's why I stopped sending them to the group chat. I just like I already know that I need to hold my horses before I even look at what the band name is.
Who's all sponsoring Bardown Breakfest?
So we have SJC is providing one of the kits for one of the stages. Then obviously Revival, which we're super excited to have as well.
Can we talk about this setup really quick? Because everybody was just like this, like ready to go for Revival right on the front on the first one. I was like, I don't think you guys noticed it, but you're just like,
I truthfully didn't mean to like drop it in there and be like expecting Revival.
Be like, talk about us right now.
You're like, talk about this really quick.
Oops. But
it was just good timing.
But I'm about to beef with Revival and Alisana because they're stealing Frontside from us. I don't know if you guys know that yet, but we
I was
have
talking
to break
about
that news. So we're gonna just start this internet beef now with Revival. I think Tom's been waiting for that for the longest time. Like Tom wants to beef with our listeners so bad.
I thought you would like genuinely. He's like, I hate Revival now. But yeah,
no,
we were talking about it before we started recording. Walt will be TMing that first run, and I'm really excited to work with Walter.
I don't think you guys realize how actually like how funny he is.
Yeah.
Like he is just deadpan funny, and he got us so many times just on like we were on the road with them. We played at West York Inn in like York, Pennsylvania. And it was not a good show. Like we literally just played to the tour package. It was a good rehearsal night. And and Walt comes out with a stack of cash. Like just and he's like a wad of cash, and I literally look at him and I go, Walt, did you just rob the joint? Like and he just goes no man, this is we got split from the bar. And it was like there was a Baltimore Orioles game playing, and there was a whole bunch of Orioles fans in the bar spending money, and I didn't know we were getting bar cut, so I'm like, fuck it. We're getting paid tonight. We're going to Royal Farms to eat.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited. Also, if anyone listening hasn't seen Frontside, if anyone hasn't connected the dots, Walter is the singer of Frontside. And if you haven't seen Frontside play live, I'm sorry, because they're really fucking good. So is Out of Time, obviously, but
I don't understand how like the Swancore junkies have not latched on to Frontside.
Yeah, we're trying. Obviously, like
it's so crazy how good it's like if you take Dance Gavin Dance and you just throw like Patrick Stump style vocals over it. He's gonna hate that I said that on here, but but he has such a cool dynamic voice, and just I had the pleasure of watching him for 7 days straight play every single night. And it was such an experience watching him get this perfect tone out of his guitar every single night, play everything perfect, and sing. And you're just like...
And have the most glorious mullet you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, and then he's pounding Miller Lights all night, gets up the next day, and he's good to go. How?
I can't wait to tour with Walt. I'm so excited.
Being a professional.
It's it's being a professional, but also just like it's so crazy how he does it. And it's like, and he has this old JCM 800, like if you're a gearhead you get it, but this is this old 80s amp that just cranks, and he just gets this amazing tone out of it, and the way he plays and the way he does everything, like, and then you have like Jolly behind him on drums, keeping everything going at the same time. It's like, who are these people? Also, tell Walt to bring the Jolly pillow on tour. If you don't know, he has a pillow of Jolly's face.
Oh my
smiling, God. And it's like a little pillow. Just tell him to bring it. He needs to bring it. We stayed at his house, and we were looking around his whole house, and he has just a front side like mural of just like different things from Frontside, because they've been around since 2007. It's just literally he has like a high school yearbook picture of him playing at like his high school, like with front side. But there's a Jolly pillow, and we found it and we pulled it out, and Jolly had come over later that day because we were packing up everything, getting ready to go to Charlotte, and we have a picture of Jolly smiling in the same smile next to the pillow. And it's the funniest picture we have ever had, and Walt needs to bring that pillow because that is front side history right there.
All right. I think that's the gist of the questions that we had. Did you guys have any questions for us? Not that this is your podcast, but do you have any questions for us?
I just know a lot of the bands that are playing are super excited that Revival's involved because, you know, being a, you know, unsigned band in the Carolinas, like it's a big deal knowing that Revival's going to be there. So I do know that there's a ton of bands that are super excited that you guys are there. I'm just very excited to have 24 bands just rocking out the Milestone, 2 stages, and it's going to be a good time.
Gonna make that list a lot longer.
Exciting. Yeah, I'll have who played at the Milestone.
We do have one final question though. Who do you think is going to win the Stanley Cup?
Who do I think or who do I want to win?
Both.
Who do you think? But okay, yeah, both is fine.
I think Vegas is going to pull it off. I don't want them to because I feel like a fan base needs to suffer way longer than they have.
Yep, that is my thoughts exactly, for sure.
That's true. That's a good point.
Like, I feel like the Florida Panthers fans, like, they get a lot of shit. Like, the Carolina Hurricane fans used to get that shit. Like, Florida Panther fans always are getting bashed for not being really... And they're getting bashed by Justin as well.
I
like, he's always talking... Yeah. So, like...
I grew up down there, though.
Speaking of long-suffering, just to make a correction, on the Bronze Age episode, you guys said that the Rangers won the Cup in 95 or 96, and it was 94. That has been ingrained in my brain.
I knew that was 94. Justin just makes up dates, and I don't like to correct him.
I don't know dates. I just was like,
We are a long-suffering people ourselves, so...
Yeah, because we had... And I just love throwing Tom under the bus for this. So we had this PR person reach out to us and was like, hey, like, have you ever heard of this band, Judah and the Lion? And I was like, no, but like, I'll look into them. Like, sure. Like, and they're huge in like alt nation, like world, but I really didn't know anything about them. And Tom pulls up like a person's fantasy hockey roster and thinks that it's the Colorado Avalanche roster, and he's trying to talk to this guy who's actually like a really big Avalanche fan, and Tom's just naming off all these guys, like, oh, you guys got this guy in the off season, this guy in the off season, and the guy's trying to be super nice, and he's just like, yeah, none of those guys are on our team.
See, I'll have like Wikipedia up, and I'll like just like sit there and I'll type out like what I want to talk about to make sure I'm not sounding like an idiot. But dates, I don't care about dates.
No, I vividly remember it being 94.
That was when Vancouver
and I talk
burned
about
down.
I talk about the Stanley Cup hat that every kid in my elementary school had, like that black and white one that was like divided right in the middle. Like every kid in my elementary school had that.
Someone had that on an
who
episode. It wasn't Mitch.
Had it in their. No, was it the dude from Timeshares?
Oh, it was the guy from Timeshares. He just pulled it like this was relic from 1994, and he's just put it on like if it was like a McDonald's Pocahontas glass. It's like, oh, here we go.
Speaking of band names that are probably really hard to have, Timeshares is probably a difficult band name to have.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Why? Because like there's probably a million Timeshares out there.
Yeah,
just
when you Google timeshares.
Can you imagine like actually going to like a timeshare show and it's just like a timeshare presentation?
Just be like, oh, damn it.
You're just
It'd
like,
be the
fell for it again.
The wrong band. And they're like, well, if you sit through this, we'll actually give you timeshares tickets to Fest. You're like, they're not playing Fest this year. I listen to Bardown.
That was good. I like that.
You
was
like
good.
that?
So Mikey said that he thought Vegas was going to win
Yes.
the Stanley Cup.
I'm as much as I hate the Panthers. I don't hate the Panthers, but as much as I don't like Panther fans, I'm gonna go with the Panthers. I want the Stanley Cup back in Florida.
That's
Just
fair.
bragging rights.
I think
Bragging
I
rights.
can confidently say Florida myself, just because of the not suffering enough thing for Vegas. I am very spiteful.
Not suffering. We need you to suffer.
Florida got
Yep.
swept by the Avalanche when they went to the Stanley Cup for the first time, and they've never done anything since. So it's been a good
Oh,
20, 23 year drought for Florida. So it would be cool to see them get it. But
Well, it's been my entire lifetime as an Islander fan, so
yeah,
I
but
truly don't give a shit about 23 years or any of that. I'm 36 and never even got there.
I'm an all Boston sports fan, so I don't feel your pain. Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
not at all.
Nope.
I don't know what that's like.
I had a woodshop teacher in middle school who was an Islanders fan, and in middle school I would wear my Rangers jersey to school sometimes, and he would not follow me in the hallways, but like anytime he saw me in the hallways, he would get behind me and go, "Let's go Rangers." And
Oh no, like that? Ew.
literally, he's like, he had a really thick Long Island accent.
He used the word
Always
bozo
gave
a
me
lot.
shit. He definitely did, and it was always be like, "They're gonna trade your boy Lundqvist," and just vivid memories.
And this is in Raleigh?
No, this is in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm also from New
No.
York. Yeah, I'm from Westchester
She's
County,
originally from
or Putnam County,
Gotcha.
technically. But
Because I was going to say I probably know that person just because of all the stuff I do with the New York Islanders.
but yeah, core memory. I haven't had great experiences with Islanders fans in the past, frankly.
That's
Also,
a given.
random shout out to another Bardown alumni. Gold Steps. I have their pick. I
Hell
don't know.
yeah.
I don't know how I have a Gold Steps pick. I literally pulled it out of my pick cup. Like I have a little cup of picks. And I pulled it out a couple weeks ago, and I was playing with it, and I was just like, "Why does this feel weird?" And I looked at it, and I'm like, "It's Gold Steps," and I think Zach put it in my pocket.
Oh,
I
I love that.
Fairly confident that he just snuck it in my pocket.
I'm
That
really
far down.
glad that we're in an era of revival bands like being friends with each other. It's really exciting, and it makes me feel really good. And we've always talked about wanting this dynamic amongst our roster, and it's great. I love you guys. This is
All
great.
you needed was Bardown Breakdown.
Yeah,
Obviously.
Yeah, there
to
you
bring
go.
everything
That's
together.
what we needed right there.
That's what brought Gold Steps, Front Side, us together into this
Yeah.
weird friendship that we have, where we're just texting each other random jokes all the time.
So, is it a good time for Song of the Week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. You guys, I told you guys that this is what we do at the end of our podcast. We do a song of the week, and every one of us gets to pick one, and it goes on our playlist that we have. It's a running playlist. So, as our guests, I'm gonna let you guys go first. So, Justin, what is your song of the week?
So my song of the week that has been on repeat since it's come out is "God Damn It All" by the Wonder Years. I am obsessed with. So I don't know what it is, but anytime they come out with an anniversary of one of their albums, they come out with it like a new song that they record in the same mix and master of what that album had come out with, and it tends to have very like lyrically goes with the album as well, even though they wrote it recently. God Damn It All, it hits in every feel that the Greatest Generation hits on, but today, which I think is more prevalent to like what we're all going through, or at least like what I'm going through and kind of like life. So it's just really cool to like hear it and be like, oh, like this album still resonates with me 10 years later. So that's my like song of the week for sure.
I saw Soupy respond to an Instagram question thing saying that like a 10-year tour is coming, and I'm just like,
I'm ready to cry.
I feel it right here. It's coming. I want to go last because I don't know what my song of the week is yet. So somebody else.
Okay,
go.
yeah, no problem. Mikey,
All right.
what's up?
So I could go with like a Hot Mulligan or Origami Angel, but I'm going to use this as a chance to glow up one of our friends who's playing Bardown Breakfest. They just released a new album last month. It's our homies Come Clean. The song is Outer Space.
Okay.
It's so dope. It kind of like has like a guitar riff that would remind you of like an 80s anthem rock, and also does like dual vocals, which is kind of like 4 Year Strong sounding, and the story so far, I just love Come Clean. Yeah, they're awesome, and wanted to give them an opportunity to get on a playlist and glow them up a little bit.
Nice.
Oh yeah, for sure. Courtney, what are you thinking? Your song of the week.
So I'm gonna do "The Best" by Tina Turner. R.I.P.
Oh, yeah, R.I.P.
She passed away today.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes. So we're gonna throw that on there.
Gotta watch that episode of Schitt's Creek now.
I know. Yes, and every time like there's a commercial that has like that song on it, and I just think of that scene in Schitt's Creek every time it comes on. But yes, Queen Tina. So had to do the shout out for her.
Makes sense. I guess my song of the week, we talked about it in our intro. I'm going to say Wake the Dead by Bless the Falls, the new Bless the Falls single. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it and love it with me.
It is really
Now,
good.
How do you pronounce the lead singer's name?
Craig Mabbitt? Oh, no,
Bo.
different one.
They used to
Bo?
be Craig Mabbitt,
Yeah.
but it's Bo, yeah.
Okay.
Bo Boken.
All right. Because we've had Matt Trainer on the podcast, who's their old drummer. So
Uh-huh.
Did he not
But-
say... Did they not
Say that again?
overlap when like Bo was in...
I
you
think
say
he
he's
might
the
have
old
been-
drummer?
he might have been in the band still when Bo was in it. But I know that Bo is a huge hockey fan and
There you
like
go.
does a lot in the hockey world, like playing wise and whatnot. So now that they're back, maybe you gotta slide in his DMs.
There it is.
Get him back in.
I remembered that this week I've mentioned this album on our like top 5 of all time episode, Fix Me by Mariana's Trench, but I'm picking the song Alive Again just because it's probably the most, I don't know, screamable for me. I don't know. That's really dorky to say. It's just my favorite on the album. I don't know why I'm rambling about it. But yeah, one of my favorite of all time, and I rediscovered that this week. So
Sweet.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys for hopping on and talking all things Bardown Breakdown and Bardown Breakfest. We appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to us. And for the listeners, if you haven't already, or if you are able to, go check out Bardown Breakfest, June 30th and July 1st in Charlotte at the Milestone. Like we said, Revival will be there. I will personally be there on Saturday.
Sweet.
So definitely stop by and say hey to us.
Yeah, get your
can.
tickets. The link's obviously on the Bardown socials, and we have it on some of ours, so go look for it. Get your tickets, and Amanda might be there. Are you on tour?
I'll be on tour.
No,
Yeah,
she's
on
on
tour.
tour.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you guys
More
for
reason
joining
to have
us.
beef with Allison. Just gonna beef with that band for no reason.
Come on, I run their socials too. You're gonna be beefing with me. Well, thank you guys so much, and we'll definitely have to do this again. So maybe we'll
Amen.
come on yours. We'll get a little more on our hockey knowledge to talk. So, but
Sounds
All
good
right.
to me.
right, thank you guys. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to the You, Me, and the Scene podcast. New episodes are released every other Monday.